As the 2025-26 NFL season approaches, the Pittsburgh Steelers will look quite a bit different than they did last year. Not only is there a new quarterback in town, but Terrell Austin's defense experienced significant change. Ironically, it's one of the pre-existing players who's getting buzz. With Week 1 on the horizon, cornerback Joey Porter Jr. is re-emerging as a key piece for Pittsburgh's defense. If Porter doesn't progress in Year 3, the Steelers' offseason moves won't look as smart. Head coach Mike Tomlin seems acutely aware of that. Mike Tomlin expecting big things from Joey Porter Jr. in 2025. Speaking to the media before the Labor Day weekend, Tomlin outlined his expectations for Porter. "It's a big year for him," Tomlin said. "Year 3, man. He's really excited about it. I think it's really good to have some established veterans around him that have kind of been over some of the ground that he aspires to cover. Guys like Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay are really helpful to him in terms of just having been there and done that. He's had a good process. I think the company he keeps, those two savvy veterans, has a lot to do with it as well." Porter getting back to his rookie year form would be a step in the right direction. In 17 regular season games that year, the second-rounder recorded 10 passes broken up en route to placing 5th in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting. Advanced metrics liked his output, too. He posted healthy Pro Football Focus grades for overall defense, 65.2, and coverage, 67.9 on the year. 2024 was a letdown. First and foremost, Porter placed 161st and 150th in respective PFF grades for overall defense and coverage. Not only that, but he continued to struggle with penalties. A multitude of defensive holding and pass interference calls limited his effectiveness. That, in turn, placed more pressure on his Steelers teammates to be perfect. As everyone knows, last year's secondary was far from that. Now, without Minkah Fitzpatrick in the fold, they're attempting to right the ship with Porter's improvement leading the way. Assessing the Steelers' secondary entering the regular season. Luckily, Porter won't be alone this year. Even post-Fitzpatrick, the Steelers have plenty of options to assist in fortifying the back end. Two of them, Ramsey and Slay, were acquired this offseason. Ramsey is widely regarded as one of football's most versatile chess pieces. Despite now being on the wrong side of 30, Pittsburgh is working to get the most out of him. Spending more time in the slot or at a safety alignment could boost that. Slay, too, is attempting to stave off father time for another year. The 34-year-old already has plans to help Porter flourish. Elsewhere at cornerback, off-season signing Brandon Echols has become a Tomlin favorite in recent months. At safety, Fitzpatrick is being replaced by a collective of players. Three of them, Deshaun Elliott, Juan Thornhill, and Chuck Clark, will play varying roles. Clark was released prior to 53-man roster cutdowns, but is now back in the fold. Think about this. Pittsburgh's 2025-26 depth chart is so loaded that someone like cornerback Beanie Bishop Jr. couldn't find a spot to begin the year. That's a scary thing for opposing coordinators to think about. A lot of this group depends on how Porter grows in his junior NFL campaign, though. Multiple Pittsburgh Steelers players are changing their numbers before Week 1, including rookie defensive tackle Yahya Black. Black wore number 78 all the way through training camp, but after cutdown day, has decided to change his number to number 94, which he wore in college at Iowa. Dean Lowry, who originally had that number, suffered a torn ACL during training camp. In addition to Black, defensive tackle Esezi Odomwo has changed his number from number 72 to number 93. Linebacker Mark Robinson wore that number during training camp, but was cut and signed with the New England Patriots. Wide receiver Max Hurlman switched his number from the running back number 34 to a number more apt for a wide receiver at number 84. Meanwhile, another offensive skill player in Trey Sermon is now number 37, as Corey Trice currently occupies number 27, despite being on injured reserve. Offensive lineman Andrus Peat was number 68 during training camp, but took number 71 this week. That number was held by rookie Aiden Williams. Lastly, defensive back John Jamison will now be number 38, switching from number 17, which he wore last year while on the practice squad, too. The Pittsburgh Steelers didn't acquire Terry McLaurin, who requested a trade from the Washington Commanders on July 31st. McLaurin and the Commanders eventually agreed to a new deal to keep him in Washington. But if the Steelers are still in the wide receiver market, they could have another shot at acquiring a wideout seeking a new contract, Las Vegas Raiders' JAKOBI MEYERS. Steelers Now's Derek Bell answered, unequivocally yes, to a mailbag question Friday about whether the team should pursue the Raiders' receiver on the trade market. MEYERS has been one of the most consistent complementary pass catchers for quite some time now, and is coming off his first 1,000-yard campaign despite missing a couple of games while also suffering through dreadful quarterback play, wrote Bell. He's got good size with great hands to make plays in traffic, can win versus man coverage from all three positions, X, Z, and slot, and is a willing run blocker that can play in a condensed split for them. MEYERS posted 87 catches, 1,027 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns in 15 games last season. His receptions and receiving yards were new career highs. But while 2024 was his first 1,000-yard season, as Bell explained, MEYERS has been very productive for quite some time. During his first season with the Raiders in 2023, MEYERS posted a career-best 8 touchdowns. From 2021 to 23, he reached at least 800 receiving yards each year. MEYERS also had 729 receiving yards during 2020. ESPN's Ryan McFadden reported on August 25 that MEYERS requested a trade from the Raiders. The receiver is entering the final year of his current contract. Raiders' JAKOBI MEYERS requests trade. Players putting public pressure on their teams with trade requests has become a popular trend this year. Before McLaurin did it, Myles Garrett was the first NFL star to request a trade seemingly as a negotiating tactic. It worked for both Garrett and McLaurin. Both received new deals with their current teams. The tactic was successful for edge rusher Micah Parsons as well, but in a different way. On Friday, the Dallas Cowboys fulfilled Parsons' trade request, moving him to the Green Bay Packers. MEYERS isn't on the same level of stardom as those other 3 players, but he is trying the same approach to land a new deal. McFadden, though, cast doubt over whether the Raiders are going to budge. The Raiders and MEYERS have been unable to come to terms on a new deal, McFadden wrote. Las Vegas, however, has no plans to move on from MEYERS, according to a source. It doesn't seem likely that the Raiders will trade MEYERS before the season. However, since he's in a contract year and Las Vegas isn't expected to compete in the tough AFC West, MEYERS could be a trade deadline target for teams before November 4th. What MEYERS could bring to Steelers. The Steelers have been linked to quite a few veteran receivers over the past week. That's not surprising given the team's lack of receiver star power. But the team isn't likely to move the needle all that much with a flyer. If the Steelers add another receiver, it should be one who could push Calvin Austin 3 for the WR2 role opposite DK Metcalf. MEYERS would do that. Bell argued MEYERS would also give the Steelers' passing game an element it's badly missing. MEYERS is very different stylistically from anyone else they currently employ on the roster, with his most glaring weakness being that he's not an extraordinary athlete that doesn't create a ton of explosive plays, but the Steelers have a plethora of team speed, Bell wrote. What they need most is a chain mover. Metcalf and Austin each averaged at least 15 yards per catch last season. Veteran Scotty Miller has averaged 14.4 yards per reception the past 2 years, and Roman Wilson was a big play receiver in college. To complement those receivers, the Steelers need the next Hines Ward or Deontay Johnson. The target quarterback Aaron Rodgers will look for on 3rd and medium. MEYERS has posted 393 receptions for 4,592 receiving yards and 20 touchdowns in 91 NFL games. He began his career with the New England Patriots as an undrafted free agent in 2019. 2 years later, MEYERS was a 16-game starter. In addition to Metcalf, Austin, Miller, and Wilson, the Steelers have veteran receiver Ben Skowronek on their roster as a 5th wideout. However, Skowronek is expected to contribute more on special teams than offense this season.